everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to start a weekend reading vlog. So it is Friday. What day is it? Oh, my calendar's not up here anymore. It is Friday, August the 8th, and I figured it would be a good weekend to do a reading vlog because I have no scheduled activities for the entire weekend. I know, it's crazy. July was super busy for me with lots of fun things going on. And August is like wide open, which is fabulous and definitely needed. So today I'm working. I'm just getting ready to start my work day. So I wanted to start this and just talk a little bit about what I want to be working on this weekend. And then the rest of the weekend we'll be out at our camp at the lake, so there'll be lots of lake scenery to be seen in the B-roll. But I did finish a book last night that I wanted to just briefly mention because it is a popular author. This is Abby Jimenez's new book, Say You'll Remember Me. And of course, I've already forgotten our two names. I don't remember the name of the female character, Samantha. So Samantha and Xavier meet when she brings in a stray kitten that she's found to his veterinary practice. And they have like a disastrous first encounter where he comes off as quite an asshole. And she is like, yeah, you're a jerk, and tells him to his face that he's an asshole. And that first encounter, they're both quite fascinated with each other, even though he has a poor reaction just based on some other things that have happened before she comes in the office. And from that first encounter, you know, he apologizes to her later on for how he behaved, takes responsibility for his own actions, and they end up going on a date. They have this amazing date, like the best date you'll ever have in your life for both of them, which is super cute and super fun. And then at the end of the date, she tells him, oh, by the way, I'm leaving for California. This is in Minnesota when they first meet. They're in Minnesota. She has to go to California to deal with some family issues, and she's moving there permanently. She's not coming back to Minnesota. And thus begins our story. Will they forget about each other? Or will they somehow try to find a way to make this long-distance relationship work? I simply love this. This was such a fabulous book. It is a book that is, while it's centered on the romance, it also is about more than just the romance between these two people. It's about family. It's about what you do for the people that you care about. It's about dealing with, things that have happened to you in your past and how you take those things with you into your future. And should you, or should you somehow try to let those things go, even when they're really horrible things that have been done to you? I mean, it's just a great message in this book. I really loved I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to try to talk vaguely about what I loved. I really loved the family relationships in this. And it's just emotionally satisfying, particularly in this time period in my life when I feel like there's so much discontent in the world. There's so many examples of people working against one another. To see a group of people like pull together and work with each other to make things nice for one person, or to do the right thing, or to, just put family first. It's just lovely. It's just lovely. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I will say that, if you love Abby Jimenez for her like witty dialogue or her banter between the two main characters, like this has that for sure, but it doesn't lean heavily on that aspect of it. I will also say that the very beginning of this book, there's a lot of discussion about pet euthanasia. Keep going, because as she says in the very beginning of the book, or before the story even starts, the dog will not ever die in an Abby Jimenez's story. So feel assured that, your heart is not going to be broken by what things that happen to animals in this book. So I do not like books where pets die. So if you are like me and don't like that either, you're fine. You're fine. So that was fun. I finished that last night, like I said. I also have three audiobooks three nonfiction books on the go, none of which I have here with me right now. One is a book for the BookTube Prize. Another is a memoir that I'm reading on ebook, How to Breathe Water by Sharon Butala, which I'm buddy reading with Sean. And I'm also have just started the Empress Dowager Cixi, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Jung Chang, which is an author that I've read from before. I read her Wild Swans, and I read her Big Sister, Little Sister, Red Sister. And I'm reading this book with Britta again. We read the Big Sister, Little Sister, Red Sister together at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, or maybe last year. I can't remember now. But we decided to pick up this book, which is about Empress Dowager Cixi, again, nonfiction, about a important Chinese historical figure. She ruled the country in the late 1800s. So I'm just started on that one. I'm maybe 30 pages into it. So can't really talk about that one yet either. So I'll be talking about those more this weekend. I also need to pick a new fiction book to get on with for the weekend. So stay tuned for that. It is Saturday, August the 9th, and I'm just here to give a brief check-in. I've done some reading. Let's see. I've done reading on the Empress Dowager Cixi. I know I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, and I apologize, by Chang. I got part 1 done, which was the section I needed to complete to check in with Britta. And I'm really enjoying that. That is historical nonfiction about the reign of Empress Dowager Cixi, who ruled China in the late 1800s. So just read the first part, which was her childhood and her becoming a concubine of the emperor at the time, who I can't think of his name. And then he passes away, and her son is the successor. And so she claims power through her as like the regent for her son. And she was only 26 at the time. So, I mean, she's just a badass. I am really enjoying reading about her. I really like the way that Jung Chang writes history nonfiction. She does such a good job. It's very readable. So highly recommend so far. I'm only part 1. Like I said, that's the first 50 pages, but it's very good so far. And then I started Legendborn by Tracy. This is a fantasy. It is YA. And we're following our main character, who I've already forgotten her name, Bree. Bree is a young Black teenager, 16 years old. Her mother has just been killed in an accident. Or what seems to be an accident, and Bree had already enrolled in an early college experience where she would go to high school. Basically, her last 2 years of high school would be at a university in North Carolina. And she decides that she will continue on that path that she had decided to go on with this early college program. So she goes off to the University of North Carolina campus And her first night there, she witnesses a demon feeding on a human and realizes that she's stumbled upon like a sort of unknown magic community, or like a shadowy magic community. And the magic community is based on the legend of King Arthur. So it's urban fantasy, because it's present day world. Like, all the world is our world. It's just that there's this other aspect of the world that regular people don't know anything about. And Bree is such a great character. She's grieving her mother. She's very angry. She feels very guilty about things that had happened between her mother and she before her mother passed away. And she is trying to deal with all that, plus be in this new place. And so she decides, she comes up with some information that makes her believe that the secret society has some information about how her mother died. And she's determined that she's going to figure out if her mother truly did die in an accident, or this shadowy group is somehow involved in her mother's death. And so she decides to infiltrate the group. I'm just in this very beginning. Like, I've read the first 100 pages of it. It's very readable. It's very interesting, and lots going on. And I really like her as a character. She has a sort of a guide and mentor in this system. His name is Nick, and she just found out something very interesting about Nick that she did not know. So I'm interested to learn more about that. But the thing that's really interesting about this, I think, and makes it different, makes it stand out for me from other stories that are sort of like similar, right? Like, young, chosen, magical kid gets sent away to a school, and is going to somehow do something, important. This, because she's a young Black woman, she joins this group, and it's all white people, right? It's all like, she's in spaces that were built for white people. She's in, with people who have never considered people of other races, sort of, like how, the impact of what they're doing on people of other races. And like, she's acknowledging as she's going on, like, how weird it is to be in these places and with these people, and what it means for her as a young Black woman to be trying to navigate these spaces. And I really like that aspect of this. It's very different and giving a much different perspective on the typical YA fantasy tropes that you would read about. So love that. So we'll be continuing on with that. It is a lovely day up here at our camp. So I expect to be doing a lot of relaxing this afternoon and reading some books. friends. It is hot. It is very hot. It is Monday afternoon, August 11th, and we are in heat. We're under a heat warning. That's what I want to say. With the heat index, we're like around 100 degrees today. That is not normal temperatures for me in northeastern Maine. I don't like it. It's not my preferred. It's not my preferred temperature type. So it is just late in the afternoon. I finished work for the day, and I've been inside working. It's been an inside day, which is good because it's so hot out. But also I've had the air conditioning on, and I don't super love air conditioning either. So I've come outside to try to sit outside for a minute, but it's very hot, so I probably won't stay out here very long. But I did want to give a final update before I close this weekend reading vlog. I have made it to page 300 in Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a YA fantasy, as I talked about earlier in the video, and I'm really enjoying it, mostly because I really like the main character. She is young. She's only 16 years old, but she is feisty, and she is experiencing a lot through the loss of her mother, and now trying to start this early college program and finding out about the secret society. And like at every turn, there is new information that she is becoming aware of, or she is finding out about, or things are happening that she has to deal with. And so, you know, she has had a lot on her plate, and she knows now that she has some kind of magical ability, but she doesn't fully understand what it is or what she can do with it. So she's trying to figure that out as well, all the while navigating these new relationships that she's developing, and trying to find out what happened to her mother. So yeah, lots going on. It's very readable. It flows really nicely. And I am enjoying myself tremendously. So it was a very successful reading weekend. I didn't check in yesterday because I ended up being sick yesterday, which was not fun, and a real bummer. Nobody wants to be sick on their weekend, right? Like that's not the plan. So I didn't get as much reading done as I had hoped to because I spent most of yesterday sleeping. So but I'm feeling much better today, and now my work day is done, and I'm sure I will do some more reading this afternoon and this evening, probably in the cool air conditioning. Good morning. Obviously, I did not end the video yet, and that's because I ended up finishing Legendborn before I went to sleep last night. So I figured I might as well tag a little video clip onto the end of my vlog so that I could talk about this book, which I completed over the course of the 4-day weekend. Legendborn by Tracy Dion. So this is book 1 in a new fantasy series for me. I mean, it's not new to anyone else, but it's new for me. And I really enjoyed this. I had an excellent time with it. And I will say the last 100 pages reads like House of Fire. I really love the main character. And I love that it's centering a young Black woman as the hero of the story. I love that. I am not one that tends to really love the Arthurian legend stories or Arthur retellings or anything like that, but I think that it's done in a very creative way in this book, and I'm really looking forward to continuing on with the series. I will say there's lots of twists and turns and surprising moments. It's very action-oriented. It's very fast-paced. So if that's not how you like your fantasy, this is probably not for you. I found it to be really fun, and I will say that typically YA fantasy tends to be more action-packed than perhaps some of the adult fantasy that I like to read. Like, this isn't the slow pace of a Robin Hobb, for example. But I did find that this book has a lot more depth than other YA fantasy books that I've read in the past. And I appreciated that a lot. I really love how Black history is interwoven throughout the book and makes sense for the main character. Just excellent exploration of sort of generational trauma and grief and history and all these things. I just think it's woven in so well into this adventure story. And I love that this takes place in modern present day America, but yet is just so much history involved in it. So really nicely done, I think, mixing a lot of things together and with a kick-ass heroine. So I love that. I will say points deducted for what seems to be the development of a love triangle, which is not my favorite trope. But again, YA fantasy, it seems to me like, I mean, I guess you can't have YA fantasy without a love triangle. I don't know. It's crazy. But that will be interesting to see where that all goes. So yeah, Legendborn, success. Looking forward to reading on in the series. Right now, I think there are 3 books published in it. The 3rd one just came out earlier this year. I don't know if it's planned, if that's the end or if there will be more. I guess I need to do some research and figure that one out. But a very successful reading weekend. So this is for real, the end of the vlog. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're all doing well.